Hello and welcome to the third episode of TWE's Meets. And today's guest is ITV Racing and Sky Bet ambassador Ed Chamberlin. Hi Ed, thanks for joining us. And how are you? And how much are you looking forward to the Cheltenham Festival?
Thanks, James. Great form, thank you. I mean, the excitement is unbelievable, I can tell you. Reflected by the fact that tickets have sold quicker than ever for the Cheltenham Festival. People are mad for it. People want an escape, really, and to have a good time and hopefully find a few winners, whether they're coming racing or hopefully watching on ITV as well, and definitely playing the ITV7.
Well, this year's Cheltenham Festival is the first normal 4-day meeting at Presbyterian Park for a few years now, with crowds back in attendance and the hype and excitement, as you just said, around the meetings unrivaled in any sport. With this in mind, ITV7's free-to-enter game is giving away its biggest ever total jackpot across the festival, with over 1 million in total jackpot prizes, which is amazing, which is across the week. We're hoping throughout this show, Ed can help you viewers find some nice picks that'll help towards some of these ITV7 picks and win you some money. So if you were to win the jackpot, say you were doing it yourself, what would you spend the money on?
I changed the picture behind me and asked them to edit out a few of those chins. I'd spend a few quid on that. I'd buy Chris Hughes some socks, because I hate people who don't wear socks at the Cheltenham Festival. I would definitely buy a nice car. But listen, the jackpots on offer in Cheltenham Week are just enormous. You know, £1 million given away over the week. So if I was to win it on Gold Cup Day, that would be the mortgage paid off. So we're talking those sort of sums of money, which is unbelievable. So yeah, the priority would be the mortgage and Chris Hughes' mankles.
Well, I think very wisely spent there. So just moving back onto the festival itself, what would you say is your first memory of the Cheltenham Festival that really got you into racing?
Probably long before you were born, James, I would have thought. The Grand National was the race that got me into racing, but the Cheltenham Festival very quickly became a highlight. And I think I'll probably look back at races like Dawn Run. I can't remember her winning the champion hurdle, but I can remember her winning the Gold Cup, and that Peter O'Sullivan commentary, the mares beginning to get up, was just ingrained in my memory for years. And then Forgive and Forget, The Thinker, Desert Orchid. And the first time I ever went to Cheltenham was when Jadami won the Gold Cup. And every year, once you get that taste once, James, you're just hooked. And I went every year from then, because it would always fall Cheltenham during a Champions League week when I presented the football.
Yeah.
And I'd never been, would you believe, on the first day of the festival on a Tuesday until I presented it on terrestrial television. The first time I ever saw the champion hurdle live was in 2017 when I presented it on ITV. And I can't describe the buzz of it. It is something else.
Yeah, it is amazing. Like, I've been to Cheltenham Festival a few times, and it's by far the best week of my year, definitely. So
good to hear.
Along with that, so obviously they're your sort of first memories. What would you say now, being on the track for the last few festivals, what has been the race of the 4-day meeting that you've took away and thought, I've never watched anything like that in my life?
Wow, been a few. We've been very lucky. Lots of wild performances. I think I would go for an hour. If you let me have an hour rather than one race.
Okay.
That golden hour we had a few years ago when Bryony won the Ryanair on Frodon and brought the house down, and the place was just absolutely electric. We'd seen something very special. And then 25 minutes, half an hour later, Paisley Park did what he did. And you can imagine Andrew Gemmell in the paddock, who's been blind since birth. He touched everyone's hearts, a huge audience at ITV. Likewise, Emma Lavelle and Barry Fenton, the trainers. Likewise, Aidan Coleman, the jockey, but also the horse. Just really resonated with people at home. And so in the space of an hour, you just had those two huge stories, and that became the golden hour. It probably, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, a bit more in a minute, would have been usurped by what Rachel Blackmore did last year, but there was no crowd there, sadly.
Yeah, it's definitely a memory in all racing fans' heart, really, isn't it? That not just the Cheltenham Festival, but what actually happened. You couldn't write the script any better, I think, definitely. So looking ahead, obviously, to this year's festival, the Gold Cup, the race that everyone wants to win as a punter, and obviously trainer, jockey. Who do you fancy in this year's Gold Cup?
It's a difficult one. It's wide open. For a long time, I fancied the British Raider Protectorate, but his price is long gone now. I don't think he's any value whatsoever anymore. I'd be loath to write off Manella Indo, even though a lot of people are. Cheltenham just brings Manella Indo alive, though it's very difficult to win back-to-back Gold Cups. You don't get beaten in the Gold Cup and then win it. So I put a line through Apple Utar. And the horse I really fancy now to win the Gold Cup is Galvin. I had lunch with his owner recently, who says he's working really, really well. He's got stamina in abundance, and he's got that all-important thing, James. He's got festival form. He's run well there a few times now and won the National Hunt Chase last year. And I think he's the rock-solid one on the up in the Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup. So I'm firmly in the Galvin camp now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think what you've got with Galvin, you'll definitely know he'll stay the trip, winning the National Hunt Chase last year. So definitely. And
the one thing you want, though, the one worry for me is pace in the race. He wants some pace in the race, because stamina is going to be his forte, and who's going to make it in the Gold Cup, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, definitely. There's no native river this year, is there, to really go off and never go up? Maybe Santini if he goes back to his old way, but I'm not sure. But yeah, as you're right, I think Galvin is a strong selection, and ITV7 this year offering an extra £500,000 on the Friday if you do manage to land the winner of the Gold Cup. So
there's the mortgage and more. Crikey, that's serious money.
So obviously you've gone through and put up Galvin. I think Galvin's got a really, really, really solid chance. But again, the 500,000 on Friday is remarkable, really. So moving on to another special horse, really, Ed. The one I know it's a big soft spot for you is Tiger Roll.
Oh yeah, I haven't mentioned him, have I? I can't believe that.
It looks to be his final run at a race course in the cross country this year. How special would it be for racing if he signed off with that 6th Cheltenham Festival win?
Gosh, I think I'd have mixed emotions, if I'm brutally honest with you, James. What a hero he's been. I mean, people say you can't compare him to Red Rum with what he's done in the Grand National. You probably can't. He's still a Grand National hero, having won 2. Where he differs from Red Rum, he's just got the small matter of 5 Cheltenham Festival victories, which makes him completely unique in his own right. To win a Triumph Hurdle over 2 miles, a 4-mile National Hunt Chase, and then 3 cross countries, I mean, he's just daft. So if he wins a 6th Cheltenham Festival race, goes level with Corvega, he's making history. And it'll be very emotional. He's been a star. I've loved him personally. I've loved what he's done for the sport, and I've loved what he's done for ITV. But if he wins again, it'll be mixed with sadness, because he should be running in the Grand National. I mean, if he bolts up in the cross country, why on earth would he not go and have a crack at the Randox Grand National? And it's just a shame that he's not, because of the owner having a fallout with the handicapper, and a horse that is so special and is the best marketing tool for me to get to the next generation, youngsters who've got involved with racing because of the love of this little horse called Tiger Roll. And he's not going to run.
No,
there'll be a mix of emotion and frustration, put it that way.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, because, as you say, for many fans who probably aren't as big as fans as we are as the sport, Tiger Roll's brought them in. Like, I want to watch Tiger Roll on the Wednesday at Cheltenham. I want to watch him in the Grand National. And the thing is, because he's not going to the Grand National, it probably just dent that from that side of people, like, looking at it. But again, he's been a special.
An example of that, James, is in our social stable 3 years ago and before then, all the kids that dressed up as tigers. We did a thing called race card charades, where you had to dress up as a Grand National horse, and kids were dressing up in their tiger suits and rolling along the ground. I mean, it was bonkers, but also brilliant, because it engaged youngsters with the sport. That's the secret to Tiger Roll, and because of that row, it's not happening, which is so sad for the sport.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on now to questions from our followers that they've sent in. So the first one,
they've been kind. Okay.
The first one's from Alan Davey on Facebook, and it is: what is the one Irish horse you think can't get beat, and one British horse you think can't get beat at this year's festival?
Okay, Alan. I am going to say with great confidence, wherever he goes, Sir Gerhard will win. I hope he goes to the Ballymore. I think he's very, very good. And speaking to Ruby Walsh, as I get to do quite often, he just purrs about this horse. I think Allaho will be the obvious banker, but I think Sir Gerhard, wherever he goes, is the one for me. And the British horse, there aren't many, but Shishkin, I hope will win the Queen Mother Champion Chase. I'm just a little bit worried whether that Ascot battle with Energumene might leave a mark, but he's the best we've got. And as Sir Anthony McCoy said the other day, he wished Shishkin could run in everything. The Champion Hurdle, the Queen Mother Champion Chase, the Ryanair, the Gold Cup, the lot, because Britain needs him badly. He's the best we've got by some distance.
Yeah, I think 2 solid picks, and I think you probably see a lot of doubles of them 2 horses if he probably was to go to the Ballymore. And even
I think a lot of people would chuck Honeysuckle, Allaho would be the 2 without a shadow of a doubt.
Definitely. So Max McClellan on Facebook has said, Ed, what would be your one dark horse selection for the festival? So maybe one a bigger odds that not many people are talking about.
Hello, Max. I am going to go completely left field in the Stayers Hurdle, non-runner, no bet with Sky Bet and other firms. a horse called Song for Someone. He might not run. They might go straight to 8-3, but it's no risk involved. It's non-run and no bet. And I like a horse in a stayers hurdle, which is wide open. And I don't think it's a vintage renewal by any means. I like a horse stepping up in trip. And when he's run over 2 miles and more recently 2.5, he's always hit a flat spot, Song for Someone, and then always stayed on frustratingly at the finish. So the step up in trip should be right up his street. We know he goes well at Cheltenham, and I think at 50-1, and he might even get bigger than 50-1, could look a crazy price come the Thursday.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Stayers Hurdle is a race definitely to attack with bigger prizes this year with so many unknowns with the horses. Yeah. So next is a question from Tom Hatton, and he says, what race are you looking forward to the most at this year's festival? Obviously, it's a tough question with so many good clashes, but what would be your one that you're really looking forward to?
In terms of clashes, it's Tom, isn't it? Tom, in terms of clashes, I'm looking forward to the Sky Bet Supreme and the Queen Mother Champion Chase. But in terms of a race and an occasion, it's easy for me. The Champion Hurdle with Rachel Blackmore and Honeysuckle. And I felt so sorry for her of what she achieved last year, that she came into complete silence. You could hear me and Ruby and AP clapping when she came in on Honeysuckle last year. We had an event at Cheltenham the other day, and we got 500 people to cheer her in, and she came in with her arms in the air, and that was spine tingling. Imagine what that's going to be like with 50 and 60,000. I mean, you saw at Leopardstown when she won the Irish Champion Hurdle, 10,000 people went mad, and it was incredible. I mean, there's going to be 60,000 people, and there's going to be a stampede if she wins to get to the winners' enclosure, to give her the ovation and the applause that the congregation at Cheltenham couldn't do last year. That congregation's back. And trust me, if she wins the Champion Hurdle on Honeysuckle, it is going to be absolutely spine-tingling. And I was there moment. So that's the race I'm most looking forward to because of that and the reception I hope she gets.
Yeah, I agree, because I was there at the Dublin Racing Festival, even when she was running past us up towards where they were starting. It was just the whole crowd. I've never seen anything like it at a race course. It was amazing. The next question from Tom Edwards, this one, and
Another Tom. Hello, Tom.
One horse that you think is well handicapped and could run well in one of the handicaps across the week.
I mean, there's a few. It has been rife with rumours on the preview circuit. I think one for myself, I was chatting to Peter Scudamore the other day, mainly talking about Ahoy Senor, who I think will run a big race in the Brown Advisory, but he loves this horse called Corrick Rambler in the Ultima on day one, race 3, which the Brits have actually got a really good record in. And that you want a progressive novice ideally going to this race. Not ideal to have a fall on his CV, but I do think he's a really good horse, and I think he could be well handicapped. And he's just got a nice profile for the Ultima, which hopefully the Brits will win despite the stronger Irish challenge this year. So I think at about 12 or 14-1, Corrick Rambler, I think, is well handicapped. In fact, I'm sure he's well handicapped. Whether he's well handicapped enough to win a Cheltenham handicap, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah,
I think with Corrick Rambler, I think his fall actually helped him in the Reynoldstown with its mark for this race. And I think definitely got a big chance. So Will on Facebook, this bit of a quirky one has gone.
Okay, go ahead, Will.
Which gives you more of a buzz, presenting on the opening weekend of the football season or day one of the Cheltenham Festival?
Oh, that's an absolute no-brainer. The Cheltenham Festival is something else, absolutely something else. I love presenting the football, don't get me wrong. And I remember one season, I think it was Man City, Southampton, and I absolutely hated it on the opening weekend. It's just, it is completely different. I love doing the football, but Cheltenham it's just hard to describe. And Aintree the same. When the director's assistant comes in my ear and says 30 seconds to an airhead, my heart is beating out of my chest, James. Honestly, the nerves, the adrenaline, the excitement of the opening day of the festival. You know, you've had to wait 12 months for this. The football season's come around pretty quickly. And as much as I loved opening days at all sorts of big grounds, doesn't compare to day one of the Cheltenham Festival, trust me.
Yeah, I thought that might be the answer.
And at the end of the day, for the football, I was stuck in a studio. Cheltenham are absolutely at the heart of the action.
Yeah, definitely. So the last question from our followers, this one's from Jack Martirana, and it's simply, what is your nap, lay, and each way pick for the festival?
Crikey. The nap is obviously Sir Gerhard, wherever he goes. He'd be absolute certainty, I think, if he goes in the Ballymore.
Yeah.
For a lay is a difficult one. I think I'd lay whatever's favourite in the Stayers Hurdle, because I think that's right for an upset. So I think I'll probably end up laying Flooring Porter, who's a bit quirky. Anything could happen with him. But I think you take a chance with him. The start of that race is going to be fascinating, obviously. So Flooring Porter, possibly. And then what was the third one?
Your each way pick for the festival.
I'll stick with Song for Someone each way at 50 and 66 to 1. Definitely do non-runner, no bet for Song for Someone, because he could bypass the festival and go to Aintree, but I do think he's a big price.
Well, Ed, thanks so much for all your insights and answering ours and our followers' questions. And like everyone who's watched, please remember to like this video and subscribe to the Winners Enclosure channel, with plenty of other Cheltenham Festival content coming up. And don't forget to get involved with this year's completely free to enter ITV7 competition for each day of the festival. As we've mentioned, the 500,000 on the Friday if you land the winner of the Gold Cup. And across the week is over 1 million in total jackpot prizes across the week. So good luck to everyone who gets involved. And thanks, Ed. Thanks again.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's probably the best tip of the week, actually. Play the ITV7.